Hi everyone, reserve setting. This is Brian McManus Real Estate. We've done this before. We have. There's a video there somewhere on YouTube. But moving through what's happened just recently with the new lending criteria that seems to be used by just about everybody. And our new strategies and tactics. This is one of them. This is one of the tactics, is setting our reserve correctly. Setting our reserves to succeed and not getting caught up in egos. I think that's pretty important. Now, I don't get caught up in advising you where to set your reserve. I give you the feedback. The buyer feedback generally is bang on. I don't take 20% off and play games or anything like that. So whatever I tell you is exactly what they're telling me. So if you think, oh well, agents lie, agents don't, we'll add 20% to what he's telling us, that's a recipe for disaster, not success. And remember, setting a reserve, it means that you've invested in the agents. Well, let's start with the agent and the auctioneer. They've invested thousands of dollars in the process. You're not the only one. There'll be marketing campaigns, whether it's me or somebody else, but they've invested as well. Not one agent would only use your investment. And that's 39 years of experience. So, something Uncle Alec once told me many years ago in the 80s, one thing that will stop a successful auction is an unrealistic reserve. Now, he sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of farms by auction. Certainly he was the most successful agent in his time. So that has come back to roost in the last 36 months, where there's been a cavalier attitude to setting reserves, and it's disappointing from an agent's perspective, because you put a lot of time and effort into an auction agency is probably 80% more time and effort than just a sole agency. So you're dealing with so many more buyers, you're processing them, and in processing them you get them right through, and then they don't qualify. So of the one, two or three at the auction that are bona fide bidders, can afford it, want it, all those sorts of things, well, there could be 30, there could be 60 that were processed that didn't qualify, opposed to just a sole agency that just has one offer generally that comes in. So moving right along, and this is only Brian McManus Real Estate's reserve, and I'm going to take you through it. Hopefully you can read it, and maybe you can't, but I'll talk you through it anyway. So, first one, dear Brian, blah blah, this is our reserve. Let's call it $1 million, just for the sake of the exercise. So, and the other thing, ladies and gentlemen of the hospitality trade, please don't set your reserve when you've been drinking. So, dear Brian, the reserve on said property is $1 million. That's pretty easy. That should be bang on what I have or any other agent has told you, that where the buyers are. Now, in leading up to that time, and I had this just recently, where the vendor said, oh, but you said it was worth X when I listed. And at the time, when we do our appraisal, a lot of the times we haven't got verified accounts. So in the process, the market moves up and down during that marketing campaign. And if we've appraised it here, and in due process, we've found out that the business isn't as profitable as you've told us, the expectation comes down to here. The local area, you don't have a catchment of 15,000 houses, it comes down here. All these sorts of things are things we learn on the way through the marketing process. Nothing to do with us as agents. Now, we're not buying it, so that's why we are appraisers. If you want a valuation, go and talk to a registered valuer, and there's plenty of them out there. Luxury home registered valuers, there's hotel and motel registered valuers out there. Registered valuers for mortgage purposes are even better, because they tend to be right on the money, because their insurance is a lot higher than the others. Okay, now moving to the next level. Now remember, as an auctioneer, that's me, I'm live and I've got bidders. Should bidding reach X, please consult us. So I've got live bidding. Now you wanted $1 million, and I've got live bidding, and in brackets in all of my reserve forms it's got 20% lower than the reserve, and that is only a guideline. Because if I get to $800,000, $750, looking for a bid of $50,000, 800, bid them on now of 800,000. I've got, bid them on 850, 800 we have, bid them on 850. We're at $800,000. I'm just going to park it there, ladies and gentlemen, and seek instruction. So we've got one bidder at 750, then probably one bidder at 700, and one bidder at 800. So we've got three bidders saying, and they've stalled at $800,000. Now, that might not be your golden goose, but remember, that's a bona fide offer, 10% deposit, cash in 30 or 42 days, whatever we've organised with your solicitor. But also, remember, you've got two underbidders that haven't chosen to come over the 800. They may kick away. Now, no agent will guarantee you that it's going to sell anything more than 800 if you change your reserve to 800. But I can say over 39 odd years, plus the years that my family were working at the stockyards and things like that, generally the moment I announce it's on the market, people kick away again. So should bidding reach $800,000, please consult us. Okay, I come to you and say, this is live, cash unconditional, 10% deposit. Would you like to put it on the market? Do you want to move? Now, you can say no, and I've had people say no, and they're on the market still 3 years later. Be careful in saying no. This is the live market. The live market's not going to change dramatically in 12 months or 24 months to the positive, to your expectation, or your goal, which the market doesn't care about your goal. Right, so we've covered that. So your reserve was $1 million, you've come down to $800,000, and we're going to have a chat. The third is the amount that you won't take. We will not accept 600,000. So if I have live bidding and we hit 600,000, I'm not even going to talk to you. It's 20% lower again. In other words, pass it in. That's your instruction to me. So now I have, remember, I'm live, and this can happen in seconds. I have a reserve up here of $1 million. Can you see that? Here it is, $1 million. If live bidding gets to $800,000, come and have a chat, because we'll think about taking the risk and putting it on the market that they might bid away, but we'll definitely not accept 600,000. So looking for an opening bidder offer 500,000. 500,000 I have, bid them on 550 I have, bid them on 600 I have, bid them on 650, 600 I have, bid them on 650, 600 I have. We won't be accepting $600,000. I'll pass it in at first call, second call, third and final call. Pass it in at $600,000. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So there was no going back to you as the vendor. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at 650,000. Bid them on 700,000 I have, bid them on 750 I have, bid them on 800 I have, bid them on 850, 800 I have, bid them on 850, 800 I have. First call, second call, I'm just going to seek instruction. Come over and have a chat. Talk to you privately online. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce that I've just had instruction from the vendors. And at this point, I'll make a call of whether I announce it's on the market or whether I ask for more bidders. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at $800,000. Bid them on 850, 800,000, bid them on 850. I'd like to, if I don't get that bid, I'd like to announce the property is on the market, ladies and gentlemen. It's on the market at 800,000. Bid them on 850, 850 I have. Bid them on 900, 900 I have. Bid them on 950, 950 I have. Bid them on 1 million, 1 million I have. Bid them on 1,050,000, 1,050,000 I have. 100, 1,100,000 we have. Bid them on 1,200,000, 1.2. First call, second call, third and final call, sold. So there's the process. I have a number of different ones that'll come out that I've trained over the last 39 years and a few before that as a child watching a lot of auctions. But the big thing, if you give me the same figure at all of these levels, you're not helping yourself. You're not helping us achieve a successful auction. You're not helping yourself move on with your life. You're not helping yourself selling your hotel or motel, and you could be here in 3 or 4 years time still trying to sell. And remember, your asset, you've got deferred maintenance and you've got capital investment. So you either have to add more units if it's a motel, or if it's a hotel, you've got to refurbish your rooms or put in transportable deluxe cabins, whatever it is, to not only maintain the price we got at auction that you turned down, to get a higher price. Well, I'll leave that in your capable hands. But it's important that you take time talk to your accountant, talk to your solicitor about the reserve. Because if you give it to me and you have the same amount at each level, it means that your reserve is, let's say, $1 million. Talk to us if it hits $1 million. We won't accept anything less than $1 million. Well, all I can do is pass it in. You're giving us nothing to play with. You can always say no, but remember, these buyers are unconditional live buyers, and buyers are very hard to get to that level. So it's not just one, it's 1, 2, 3 or 4 or even more that we've got. We've spent the time in marketing, we've had hundreds of thousands look at your property on social media. And you can have a look at my figures that they're all online. We've got videos on YouTube, we've got videos on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere else that you can see what figures we've got. So hopefully that helps. Feel free to go and talk to if I'm not your auctioneer, and you go to auction with somebody else, talk to the auctioneer. Call them on the phone and say, okay, look, we've seen this video. How does your auction go? Talk to your agent and say, okay, well, in setting the reserve, and get familiar with your reserve prior to auction. Ask them in the first week for a copy of it. I'm happy about giving anyone a copy of my one, and start formulating a plan. Please don't set your reserve when you've been drinking. Yes, it does happen, and I know when it happens because of the result. I'm going to close with Uncle Alex's quote: the only thing that will stop a successful auction is an unrealistic reserve. The only thing that will stop a successful auction is an unrealistic reserve. Listen to the feedback that's coming through from the genuine buyers. It's not pie in the sky, it's the ones that have got the money, the ones that have been to the bank and can only raise X amount of dollars because of your books, because of the value of your buildings, your chattels. And think about that. Do you want to succeed? Do you want to move on with your life, or have you just wasted your agent's time and effort? Okay, that's it. And if you're looking at selling, have a look at our new website. It's got the schedule of the auctions. Now, we're looking at roughly 3 to 5 per in-rooms auction. So if we've got one scheduled, we'll schedule it online. If we've only got 1 to 5, 1 to 3, only because of the it's cost and the logistics of having an in-room. So roughly it costs us about between $7,000 and $12,000 to run one, and it really only becomes cost effective with 5 auctions or more. So we do 5 to 10. Generally, that's what we aim at with the 6 markets the 5 markets we're in at the moment. We've got a 6th market coming, but that won't come until the website's all ironed out, and probably about version 4 or version 5. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, and if you're looking at listing, want a free appraisal, give me a call, Brian, 040-297-0217, Brian at brianmcmanusrealestate.com. And thanks for watching. Hopefully that helps. I know it's hard. Not a lot of people set reserves regularly, so feel free to ask any questions, email, text, Facebook, whatever, and I'll help out. Thanks. Bye-bye.